Every day is filled with choices. You're here because you're choosing to start with a win. Get ready to be inspired, learn something new, and connect with the Win Nation.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, Adam Contos, CEO of Remax, here with Start With a Win, and producer Mark doing that shoulder dance.
You like
got
that
going
shoulder
there.
shuffle? If you're not watching this on YouTube, you can head over there and subscribe and see the
shoulder
shuffle.
A la Mark Labriola.
That's right. The dose, that's right.
The
Don't
dose.
forget.
I got a question for you, Mark.
Okay. What is that question?
Do you understand kind of some of the fundamental psychological techniques, time-tested, of really creating great relationships and influencing those relationships? And I don't mean in a manipulative way. I mean in a kind way.
Yeah. Like an authentic way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure that I do, but I feel like a lot of it is subconscious, you know? Like I'm sure when you start breaking these down and explaining, it's like, oh, I do that. I just didn't know I did that, you know, or that was actually a process in a, you know, relationship building.
Yeah, it's funny because, so Dale Carnegie, 1936, wrote a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I think this is one of the best, I don't want to say leadership books, but I'll just say people books out there to remind us of how should we treat each other. And there are a lot of interesting concepts, you know, keep in mind, written in the 1930s. So there's a little bit different perspective on how we viewed society and things of that nature. But ultimately, these are concepts of the heart, of how we think and process information emotionally, and some really good ideas here. So what do you say we dive into a few of these concepts? Because this is really, really good information for our listeners to just reflect on and actually go, do I build this into my day, into my life, and my interactions with people? So ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do this. I think, again, like you just said, I think it's extremely important too, because I know a lot of people suffer from, you know, anxiety when getting around other people and not sure how to maybe interact or communicate. It doesn't come naturally to everybody. I am aware of that. And so, I think it's great to be reminded of this as well as maybe even learn something new, you know?
Awesome. All right. So, first, I want to talk about some fundamental techniques in handling people. And I don't like the word handling because you're not controlling them. So I think these are fundamental techniques in relationships more than anything. And this first one is actually the analogy that Carnegie gives is fantastic. And that is, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. I mean, so let's kind of unpack that. I mean, really, this principle, more than anything, is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. And people are like, well, what if I have a problem with something? Well, hang on a second here. How do we walk in and, you know, give people constructive, positive information that they're going to feel good about receiving? Because you listen to different psychological techniques, and people, as soon as they start being attacked or criticized, they take it personally, right? It's human nature. Right. And Carnegie says that gets you nowhere, absolutely nowhere. It's kind of a cool concept when you try to figure out how do I set up this conversation, how do I set up this relationship without torpedoing it first, which it's interesting because in this part of society, for some reason, we like to go in and just throw poison on each other or something like that. And
very easy to criticize.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, people are, where's the manager? It's just the concept of, all right, are you going to gather the honey? Are you going to ask for something? Are you going to get something? And this is anywhere in life, anywhere, any place. Don't kick over the beehive. And it's fascinating because a lot of times it's not this is saying don't approach negatively, but you also have, if somebody approaches you negatively, you have the opportunity to take advantage of that situation as well, not in a leverage position, but to kind of steer the kindness, if you will, in it.
You can really defuse a problem, right? Like exactly, you can really defuse something if you respond in kindness and patience.
Correct. You have a good shot at it. Obviously, it depends on their response. It's how do you treat people?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's, and this principle, don't criticize, condemn, or complain, is important. It's really important. So the second principle here is, give honest and sincere appreciation. Okay? Honest and sincere appreciation. The reality is everyone likes a compliment. Everyone.
Yep.
But just receiving a compliment of any kind is game-changing. It's sincere, because without sincerity, it's flattery. Flattery's fake, and it makes a big difference. So
flattery will get you nowhere, as they say.
Yeah, totally. Flattery will get you nowhere. Be sincere, for crying out loud. Mm-hmm. And I mean, think about this when you're running a business. What do we as business leaders not do enough? We don't pay compliments enough. What do we do too much? We look for things that people are doing wrong too much. So we're kind of running against both of these concepts. So you're running a business, and you just think of, any meeting or situation you go into, and you can start to tell. It's pretty simple when people are getting a little uneasy about what they're about to say. They talk around in circles. They're like, okay, here's the reasons. They justify everything because they don't want to be condemned for what they're about to say. So, you really need to care and get them to want. So, right. And that's the, the next principle, arouse in the other person an eager want. So the only way on earth to influence other people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. So you've set the foundation with great interaction, compliments, things like that, and then arouse their want and then show them how to get it. Because everybody wants. We have these desires. So it's kind of fascinating when you look at this. Essentially, that first chunk, those three things that I just talked about, don't criticize, condemn, or complain, give honest and sincere appreciation, and arouse in the other person an eager want. That's a great foundation for dealing with anybody.
Yeah, it's almost like something that you need to, maybe before you start your day, like you wake up going into your day thinking about these things on how can I practice one of these principles today, and I know you talk a lot about kindness and, giving to others. And I think these things, even though they are very simple, they're also very difficult because we're so self-absorbed and we're so busy and we have things that we need to get done and we are, on a mission to complete something. And so when you look at these, these first three that you shared, it really, it makes us slow down, really, like when you're in a transaction.
And that's a great point, Mark. And I'm going to get into part 2 here, ways to make people like you. And that is one of the concepts that's in here. So you hit the nail on the head. So let's run through these real quick. Ways to make people like you. First of all, is become genuinely interested in other people. Love to hear their stories and be interested in listening, not listening to talk. So right. Big difference there. A lot of people listen for their ability to jump in and talk. So fascinating concept. Next one. Yeah. And I know you like this one. Smile. Smile. I mean, what a simple idea, right?
Yeah. Very simple.
So the psychologists have proven that smiling to people when you first meet them changes how you meet them. People who smile tend to manage, teach, and sell more effectively and to raise happier children. From Professor James McConnell, psychologist at the University of Michigan. Nice. It's proven fact. And nobody cares if you like your smile or not. They like your smile. You're giving them something that only you can give them, and that's your smile. Here's the cool part about it. They're free, and you never run out of them.
That's right. Yeah, what if people were known for resting smiling face? We got to practice that. The resting smiling face.
That's a good one. I like that. I mean, thank goodness there's, smiling emojis, right? I love the smiling emoji. But the reality is a smile is a greeting card. And it tells people that they can either trust you or not trust you. They're either threatened or not threatened by you. It's a subconscious reading of them, and it either opens up their ability to listen or it closes their ability to listen because they're on guard. So it's fascinating, but smile. And then here's another one. Remember that a person's name, Mark, is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language.
That's so powerful. I can think about times when I've been in a conversation with somebody and then they use my name, and it's almost like a little trigger of like, oh, wow. Like, well, Mark, let me tell you something, and it's like, oh, like one is you remembered my name. And two, like the fact that you said it in a conversation just made me feel like, I don't know, but just more secure or more appreciated or something.
It does. It is. I mean, that's the sound that we hear. If you're in a crowded room and you hear your name, that's the sound that you hear out of everything else. So you think about that. It is truly magic when you use people's names. So, and Dale Carnegie said that he could remember, millions of names. Just tons of them because he focused on it. He knew that that was important to people. And I don't think as many people wore a name tag in 1936 as they do now. But, it's an opportunity. So use it. Okay, so moving on. I love this one. And we've got just a couple of these left. But be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. And that's, we talked about that. Be interested, don't try and be interesting. Try and be interested. So be a good listener. It gives you the ability to learn about them. To learn about their needs, wants, desires, challenges, opportunities, things of that nature. And it's great because it also gives you some information to talk about them when you're feeding that back. And that's really what life is about, is finding out about other people. They will have the same intention when they see what your intention is. They'll be like, oh, Mark, tell me about yourself. Why are there guitars hanging in the background in your video? Or do you like to sing, or what do you do on your weekends? Do you have kids? Whatever it might be. So just be interested, not interesting. It's kind of
nothing is more draining than when you get done with a conversation and someone has just talked about themselves the whole time. And I always feel like the best conversations are when there's that ebb and flow of you asking them questions and them responding, and then them being interested in genuinely in you and asking you questions. And then when you leave that conversation, you feel kind of filled up and you feel like, oh, wow, I really enjoyed like that time or that conversation or that meeting, So
exactly. It's like when you're at a networking event, everybody's running around trying to give you their resume verbally. Mm-hmm. It doesn't do it for me. I want to go ask the questions and let them answer the questions and listen to that and learn about them instead of them telling me, why they're so special, why they're so cool.
Right.
So, and this one plays right into that. Talk in terms of other person's interests. So what helps them? What are their challenges and what did they do to overcome those? So it kind of plays into that last one of, be interested and then talk about their interests.
Yeah.
Use the words that they use. Exactly. And I have one more here, Mark, from the first couple parts of How to Win Friends and Influence People.
What is that?
Make other people feel important and do it sincerely. We all have a contribution in this world, on this planet. The reality is you wouldn't get on that airplane if it wasn't for that person standing there at the counter, letting you on the airplane. You wouldn't be able to eat if it wasn't for the person serving you or creating your food. There's just so many things that happen in life. Thank them for what they do and be sincere about it. Make them feel like they're making a difference. You made a difference for me today. Thank you. And watch the surprise on their face, because all of these things, it's interesting. All of these things have been forgotten in society because we're so ready to file a complaint with the manager to get a free, dessert or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to reverse course and go back and figure out how to win friends and influence people again.
Yeah.
These things are important.
They are. They're a great reminder. And yeah. Adam, how can we encourage our listeners to start with a win? What is one thing we can tell them to maybe challenge themselves this week?
I think the biggest thing we could do when you look at these principles, the biggest thing you can do is ask yourself, how can I make this person happy? Because ultimately, if that's the best that you can create in life is your kindness and happiness and give somebody some fulfillment for what they do and their accomplishment in life, they're going to want to go and do more. And they're going to want to get better and better and better because they're being rewarded for their actions. So that's ultimately what this is about. In fact, the next series on this, we're going to do 2 more parts of the book, and we're going to get into some leadership and how can you help people find a greater self. And I look forward to that. So, but until then, practice these principles and see how many people you can make smile.
I love that. What a world it would be if we all looked at how we could enrich other people's lives. So, hey, thanks, guys, for listening to Start With a Win. If you'd like to ask Adam a question or tell us your Start With a Win story, give us a call and leave us a message at 888-581-4430. Don't forget to go on to iTunes and subscribe. If you just listen passively or get onto your device and search for the show, hit that subscribe button because then you'll automatically get the episode as soon as it airs, and you won't have to think about it. For more great content, blog posts, motivational quotes, all sorts of great stuff, head over to startwithawin.com. And if you want to follow Adam on other platforms, he's there. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And remember, start with a win.
You still there, Mark?
Yeah, I'm always here.
Oh, there you are. I love it.
All right.
That was like a deep emotional reflection time. I look at it and I go, hey, did I say the right thing or the wrong thing to the last person I talked to? I mean, it's like a check and balance on our position in society. Are we doing things good, or are we just kind of dragging things down where we see, people attacking each other?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you think these 8 principles: do not criticize, give honest and sincere appreciation, get the other person's point of view and see things from their angle, become genuinely interested in other people, smile, remember names, be a good listener, and make other people feel important. I mean, it's interesting how like external all these things are, right? It's not about you or your preparation or how you look or, feel. This is all about the other person, which I think is something that I guess the only one that is about you is the smile. That's the thing that you can control, is that smile.
Totally. Well, it's how good does it make you feel too? It's kind of, I almost look at it and go, if I'm smiling at everybody, it's kind of selfish because it just makes me feel so good. But that's okay because they get part of it too.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think there's probably some sort of I think there's that psychological trigger of like, oh, this person's approachable. They're happy. They're, willing to have a conversation or talk or, be open to new ideas. So I think it's good.
Cool. All right.
Okay, well, hey, YouTubers, thanks for sticking around. Hit the subscribe button there and start following us here on the channel. Leave comments if you have questions or things you'd like us to discuss or people you'd like us to have on the show. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. And then hit that thumbs up button because that's going to actually share this episode with more people the more that it is liked. And that's about it. Until next time, we'll see you when we see you.